All right, moving on up to a little bit bigger boy here. We have the low visibility Deployment-2 kit. Now, you can already tell this just looking at the contents, there's a lot more in here than there was in that shield kit. And again, the packaging is the same as with the shield kit. This nice, dense plastic, almost rubber-like vacuum sealed package with the rip tab on top. And I can't get over how nice this packaging is. I'm gonna hit them up and ask them like, hey, what are you guys using for your packaging? It's fantastic. Also, we have this little insert here on the back where we have our lubricant, and we'll get to what that's for here in a sec. But again, I love the packaging. I gotta figure this out. So carrying on, contents wise, as we can see, there's a lot more in here. We have the combat gauze, which was contained in the shield kit as well, but we also have Z-fold gauze, elastic bandage, occlusive dressing ×2, 14 gauge needle. That's for your your needle decompressions. The MPA, which is your nasopharyngeal airway with 550 cord wrapped around it. Nitrile gloves, your surgical gloves. Casualty card, Sharpie, and 2 safety pins. And as it says here on the external pocket, this thing, you got your lubricating jelly. So again, as with the shield kit, you're going to use the same method for cracking it open. And hopefully my hands are a little drier this time, so I can get this open and not look so weak. But from here, you can grab the sides however you want to do it. Start it off, get it ripped open. Like I said, this material is nice and tight and secure. So once you get it going, though, it comes open. Very simple, nice and easy. So we got it open. We almost have, if you're ever in MREs, it's almost as if you're opening your MRE from the side. But we got all of our contents in here. So let's go ahead and dump it all out. And so with the shield kit, we had all 3 items were taped together. With this, it appears that like items are taped together. So both your occlusive dressings, chest seals, taped together. We have our combat gauze, the Z-fold gauze, and your elastic bandage and paper clips. Your whatever they're called, clips, the safety pins, sorry, and you got your gloves. They're all taped together, nice and neat. And then finally, you got your casualty card. We won't get too much into the casualty card stuff because that's it's very select on who's going to be using this and why they're going to be using it. So we'll just put that off to the side right now. But let's start from the top of the contents list. So right here we have our combat gauze. Again, this is sterile gauze that's impregnated with hemostatic agent. Hemostatic agent is a chemical compound that essentially speeds up the clotting process when it comes into contact with blood. This is not a must-have, but it's definitely nice to have. It enables you to do your job better when you're stuffing that wound and stopping the bleed. So that's good to have. Next, we got this Z-fold gauze. Now, this is more like your standard sterile gauze. It's called Z-fold mainly just because the way the gauze is folded in and then vacuum sealed is in kind of a Z pattern, in and out, in and out. Again, this does not have hemostatic agent in it. It's just a basic sterile gauze. This is absolute bare minimum must have, especially with your everyday carry trauma kit stuff. You need to have sterile gauze at minimum. And again, it's just like this, except this has that extra stuff, the hemostatic agent, to help with the process of the clotting. Now we move along to we got our standard compression bandage. Compression bandage, this is essentially what a Israeli bandage is, if you've ever seen those or used those. Just an elastic bandage. This is good for when you stuff the wound, and then you wrap this around the top to kind of keep everything secure and maintain pressure. We got our nice gloves. And now we move on to the more advanced level, not really advanced, but your higher level stuff that you're going to be using to treat trauma. Now, when it comes to tension pneumothorax, or as they're called, sucking chest wounds, this is where these pieces of kit kind of come into play, except for this, the nasopharyngeal. So nasopharyngeal, this is to, secure an airway. Imagine, the level of trauma is, or the method of trauma is a lot of damage to the face, to the, the section where the nose is, the nasal cavities and stuff, and the patient is unable to breathe on their own. due to blockage of the airway, you would use this. It's just a plastic tube that you would insert through the nose. It has 550 cord on it. Essentially, I'm assuming, I've never used it with 550 cord, but I'm assuming this is to kind of help secure it in place. Once you've inserted it, you can wrap it around the top and secure it along the head. We have our needle D, a 14 gauge needle decompression. This is for, pneumothorax or even tension pneumothorax. When, not pneumothorax, but tension pneumothorax. When, there is pressure building up in the lungs, and it's the lung cavity and preventing the lung from fully inflating, and your patient can't breathe. We'll go over, I'm not going to go over right now where insertion points are, but this is used to insert into the lung cavity and release that pressure. Then we get to everybody's favorites, the high fin vents, the chest seals. So chest seals, this is going to come into play when you have a sucking chest wound. Sucking chest wound, simple. It's just a hole in the lung cavity, whether it go all the way through. So you got two entry and exit, or just one on the top. It's actually nice to put two in here just in case you do have, an entry wound and an exit wound. It's actually really good, nice to have in here. As with most of these products and these items, you're going to have directions for use, step by step. And the high fin has nice directions here. Super simple. It's infantry simple, which if you've been in the infantry, stupid simple pretty much. So yeah, that's the contents of this. You got your Sharpie too for write down stuff. So all these items are nice and tightly packed here inside this awesome packaging, which I'm serious about talking to Phokus about, like, where do you guys get this stuff? Last but not least, you got your lubricating gel. This gel, if you're wondering, is for the NPA, your nasopharyngeal airway. Because if you're going to put this in dry, everybody's going to have a bad time. So make sure you use this, you lube it up nice, so it goes in smoothly through the nasal cavity. So yep, all that. And again, this is the low visibility Deployment-2, nice and small, very tight and compact. So move on to the next one.